Hi, welcome to Head Feed, where we talk about movies and shit. Today we're doing the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Snyder cut. Let's get into it. Right at the beginning, what did you think about the death cry and the awakening of the mother boxes and that kind of
I thought that was a cool intro, yeah, with the sound waves coming from Superman. I thought it was a cool intro. I was definitely excited. I feel like my enjoyment of the whole movie waned as it went, because in the beginning it was like, oh, this is so different and blah blah blah, and then by the end it was kind of like, okay, all right. No, I really liked that though. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Some of the context, I'm not sure if I'm just not informed enough as to the original comics and whatnot. I thought that, with the boom tubes, what didn't make a lot of sense to me was how Darkseid forgot where Earth was. Or maybe it's just that, the mother boxes call and then they just teleport to wherever that is, and that's how they don't know exactly what planet it is.
Right, which was also weird because it was like, oh, the mother boxes, now that Superman's gone, they called out because they were afraid of Superman. But Superman had been around for 5 minutes, so what were they doing for thousands of years before that? And that was also the other weird thing where they were like, oh, we need Superman, we can't defeat this guy without Superman. Except for when we did in the past, hit him with some lightning and he's out. They beat him in 5 minutes in a little clip scene.
Those cutscenes were really cool though. Watching
I think some of the best parts of the movie.
I mean, poor Gal Gadot or Gadot's, her narration, and I just don't I have a lot of issues with her in the film, and it's probably based in terrible reasons, but I don't think she's necessarily a great actress.
She's not. She's beautiful. The character is pretty cool. I like the way that action-wise she moves, kicking people's asses.
Her fight scene was
Gal Gadot just has. Her fight scene was fantastic, but she just has no charisma. She says anything. She's not funny. She's not likable. She's just.
Also, which, they obviously went hard for the PC thing with this movie, because there's a lot of moments. I wish some of the dialogue wasn't so on the nose, and so, here comes one of those moments, the first, Wonder Woman, and that little girl's the only one that doesn't get up, and I literally was no, don't do it, and then they did it, and then...
Dude, 2 different times in this movie, Wonder Woman goes, you can be anything you want. And I was just sitting there fuck you.
Okay, so then there's the other scene where it's a classic action movie scene where there's 2 opponents and a bunch of minions, and the bad guy's stand off, I want him for myself, and they're oh cool, it's gonna be a good fight.
Oh god,
and they had to put in that I belong to no one.
I belong to no one. No, it's so bad, dude. The hostage thing in the beginning was pretty good. It got a little kind of that kind of cartoonish, where at the end he's oh, well, now I will slowly turn and I'm going to execute the hostages now. Oh, I've been defeated. And that's fine, whatever. But then Steppenwolf is doing hostages too, and it's why are we doing this scene again? I don't know.
A lot of repeat scenes that don't need to happen.
Yeah, and
most of the conversations with Desaad, they have the same conversation 3 times. He's have you found them?
Yeah,
he's the demons smell it.
You suck at finding them, Steppenwolf. Yeah, it was
I like the context
Darth
for him.
Skyping the Emperor. I like that too. That was cool. Some character development, but it was just we're evil and we all kind of look the same, and we all have deep voices with different effects on the voice.
And we're building stuff in the name of you. Build those gross-looking towers that are in the name of Darkseid. Go. And then I don't know if one other Gal Gadot moment that got to me, or maybe I was just overanalyzing. I hate that they all try to talk like her, or whatever they told all of the Amazons.
All the Amazons. There was not a scene that I could take them seriously.
Yeah, and that part where the rocks come down, those arms are big.
Yeah.
And I was I like that, because it could have been skinny little
that part was cool.
Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders
models and stuff.
It's our pose, but they were ah, and I was yeah, that's fucking badass.
No, I liked the action sequence of him trashing the Amazonians though. It was brutal. It was kind of cool. At one point, I think he hit someone with a horse. Damn, that took me by surprise.
The one part that's really cool, I thought, with the fight choreography, they all lasso one of his legs up, and he cuts it and grabs all 6 of the ropes that are attached to 6 Amazonians and just swings them and slams them on the ground.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. It was brutal, which I loved.
His movies, they visually are great, and the action sequences are good, But I don't think that there's a character I've given a fuck about in any of, like, I almost care about Cyborg, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. He had a great origin.
It was like the best sequence in the movie. Was like,
if anything should have stayed, it was the drama between him and his dad, because it just seemed like it just seemed catty in Justice League, where he just like hated him. You're like, but
in Justice League, in the first one, he just seemed negative. Like, it was like, who's this negative prick? Like, why is he such a downer? But in this one, it was like, oh no, he's a tortured character, and like,
I don't know how you feel about Ezra Miller. I think he's great, but I thought there were a lot of awkward scenes for him. Like,
there were. I think he's funny. He's a good actor. I think he's good at Flash. When he runs, he kind of does like the Conor McGregor arms, where he's like going like that. And in the comics and the cartoons and everything I've seen, it's like he's moving so fast that the red and the yellow of his costume is streaking behind him. And in this one, they were like, he generates blue electricity, which just felt very Quicksilver, and it kind of seemed like a missed opportunity to differentiate that character.
Yeah, I enjoyed how when he's in the pet store, he like moves so quickly that he bursts out of his shoes. Yeah. And the floor kind of like slides with him, and when he presses into glass, it moves as if it's like water almost. But that last scene was just electricity, and it's nice that they replaced that scene where like he falls on the Wonder Woman's boobs and
God, that was so bad.
Teleports off of her. It was like, thank God that wasn't in this one. He's like, it's almost like he doesn't know that his powers are dangerous, and he just in a clumsy, like, he's always like moving on the wall, like, which is kind of stupid because he's
too dumb.
I get it with Superman, where he's like, holy shit, this guy's almost hitting me. It makes sense, because he wouldn't be used to that before. No. But when it's like, okay, everybody in this room moves at normal speed, right? And he's afraid to fight them? Stupid. That's so silly. He should have just been like, it would have been way cooler if he was like funny about it and just was like, and they're just like slamming against walls and stuff.
And that's like, if you remember the Justice League cartoon, that's how Flash is in that, where he's quippy, but it's in a kind of Spider-Man way, where he's like doing circles around people and he's like, gotcha, I'm fast, I'm over here now. You know, it's not like him being like, how do my powers work? Oh God.
It's like he uses a lot of slow-mo, which sometimes it's good. I honestly think it needs like maybe 3 scenes in the movie, not like 50.
27 minutes of slow motion in this film, and I'm like, that's too long. It's already such a long movie.
The slow-mo should be reserved for moves in action scenes that make them look really cool. If you're dodging an arrow, grabbing, like that kind of stuff, but not when like someone's hair is like flipping in the wind and then in slow-mo and you see the cop's hat like, and it's like, what are you doing? And how the fuck did Wonder Woman get a job at the Louvre? What, did she just make up a career that she's worked on fine art her whole life? And
like, do they have secret identities or don't they? Does everyone know that Clark Kent is Superman? Because there's also scenes like where they're just like, Clark, and there's a whole bunch of cops right behind them, and you're like, yo. It's almost like the only reason they have these scenes where they're not in costume is to show them not in costume. They're like, look, Clark Kent wears plaid. Wonder Woman's got her hair in a bun, whatever.
Yeah, and they all like somehow have money.
Yeah, they're all just rich and
like Wonder Woman's driving like a $200,000 Mercedes. And it just doesn't make any sense.
They're going into the sewers to fight Steppenwolf for the first time, where they're just walking kind of casually, and the music was like, and it's literally just them walking and then jumping over a small gap. They got from this side of the bridge to this side of the bridge.
I honestly didn't think the soundtrack in the other one was better in a lot of moments.
Yeah, I think all the Hans Zimmer stuff is good. Like when Superman comes in, it has like the bum bum. Yeah. And even I didn't like it at first, but I kind of warmed up to Wonder Woman's like all that stuff is fine. Yeah. But I thought a lot of the soundtrack was, isn't this scene cool? And it was just like Flash and Batman carrying the pizza out to the car. And it's like, and it's like, nothing's happening. Why is this music? And then every time it wasn't a soundtrack part, like where it was an inserted song, that never worked. Like it was always just like, the saddest song. And the Scandinavian singing was just like...
The Scandinavian singing and Jason Momoa trying to speak Icelandic was rather off-putting. And also, what's up with his alcoholism? Is that a comic book thing?
No, that's because he's a real cool dude, man. Also, there was a really great scene where he downs a fifth of whiskey, which is like, yeah, this is cool to drink, guys. But then he smashes it into the ocean, so he's littering now. Like,
yeah, it's like, how do we make everyone thinks Aquaman's a pussy. What makes Aquaman not a pussy? Make him an alcoholic. Like, he's always got a flask on him. Man, that shit is weird. And you really dress like a bat stuff. It just feels really silly to make for like him to make fun of him for dressing like a bat, and then he still dresses like a dork too. Like,
and I think that's the general attitude of a lot of characters. Is like, oh, I don't even want to be here. And it's like, well, as an audience member now, I kind of don't want to be here. Like,
I think Ben Affleck's a giant letdown in general for Batman.
I like the voice changer. I like that he's not doing what Christian Bale did.
Right, there's a modulator.
Yeah, overall, definitely. And I don't know if it's even Ben Affleck's fault, because he looks like Bruce Wayne, but yeah, just kind of nothing. I don't know.
Like, Christian Bale and all that was such a different universe of Batman, but like, if it's gonna be in this kind of like so much more like the comic books, then it needs to be somebody that's like actually, what's the Dark Knight Returns? Is that what's his name? What's that?
Christian Bale.
No.
Frank Miller, the comic.
Right, in the
clearly went for that look where he's really bulky. And...
Yeah, and the animated movie is voice too. Like, the voice actor they got for it is just like so deep and so direct and scary. And I don't know. I feel like Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne is not. I don't know. It's just not believable enough. And then once he's with the costume, he feels useless, and he's kind of getting his ass whooped by like the Minion guys. Yeah. And I think a lot of what makes him look kind of wimpy when he is in his Batman outfit too is like the coloring and the texture is really cool on that Batman suit. Yeah. But I think maybe Ben Affleck has a really long torso as well, and that's adding to it. But he looks like he has really stumpy legs.
Yeah, he feels like like very top heavy.
It's in this like weird. Like, when you think about Christian Bale's Batman, it feels like you think of him more slender. Like
he feels like he fights more like Bruce Lee, whereas this one, like, he's a big burly kind of...
Nothing about it feels acrobatic, or it's like Batman dresses sort of like a ninja because his skills are based in like
that kind of
like
thing,
an Asian fighting style, which is not clunky and like...
No.
I did like the black Superman suit. I thought that was a nice...
I liked that,
nice
but...
touch.
And this is just my hang-up from reading the comics. The reason they give the black suit when he comes back from the dead is they're like, oh, this is like a sun-absorbing suit. He's weakened because he's just been revived or whatever, so this suit like absorbs all the solar energy even more and makes him more powerful and all that stuff.
That makes sense.
In this one, it was just like he walks down a hallway that's like his closet, and he's like, do I want this one? Do I want this one?
Oh my god, I didn't know that was what the origin of that suit was, and I'm sure that the people that know that appreciated seeing it, but also were like,
I just don't know why they showed him picking it out. Just have him show up in it.
Show up in
it. Be like, that's a cool suit, but like having him be like, no, I'm gonna wear the black one today. It's like, okay.
That classic, the classic, like getting ready for the fight scene, and
getting ready
to the armory, and you have all these options, and
there's that whole thing where at the end Superman comes in and saves the day, which kind of makes the rest of the Justice League useless, but whatever. And they alley-oop with Steppenwolf, where they're like, you hit him, and then you hit him, and then you hit him, and then you cut his head off.
Yeah.
And then they do that, and then Darkseid's there, like, oh, I should kill all these people. And it's like all the characters are like, no, we need something to do in the sequel.
What did you think about Martian Manhunter?
It felt cool but unearned. Hey, look, we brought in Martian Manhunter, and we did nothing with him. The Ma Kent Lois Lane scene was like, just kind of cringy and weird. And then I think it's weirder knowing that Ma Kent is Martian Manhunter the whole time. And you're like, why is he? He's like, it's really important that Lois Lane... And they were like, Lois Lane's the key. And they were like, the key to Superman. And they were like, no, it's more than that. What do you mean?
I think it's probably that, like, Lois Lane dies... Maybe that's what turns Superman angry.
Well, yeah, if you remember in the Injustice video game, and it's an idea they took from the Kingdom Come comic, Joker kills Lois Lane, and then Superman goes off the deep end.
In that future scene, it feels very out of place.
Yeah. The idea of a movie where Batman and Joker have to work together is interesting, but Jared Leto is just bad.
Oh, so bad.
They do that thing where he's like, well, your dad died, and your mom died, and he's like, be careful what the next thing you say. And he's like, and also Robin died. Remember Robin died?
Yeah, and then Batman's like, believe me, I will fucking kill you. And I was like, wait. Why is he cursing now? What's up with that?
And I don't even mind if they swear, but they thought it was cool to include that. And it didn't. No. It didn't make it cooler. It was still like it felt like a couple of middle schoolers like being like, "Oh, you suck." No, you fucking suck. Like, yeah. And it's weird too because I've seen all this stuff now after this came out. Restore the Snyderverse. I don't think I want that. Like, I'd be cool to see these characters again, but I don't want Zack Snyder to do it because I just don't like. I think his movies look great, but are just not good.
Yeah. It never should have came out in the order that it did, because that just created this issue where it's like, oh, okay, we're watching this scene that we've already seen, and then on top of that, that scene's cringy. Right. Overall, as a movie, it was just like, didn't need to be that long. The Snyder Cut